So Galaxy S24 series is the next big thing from Samsung. But today I'm going to tell you all the specs of the Galaxy S24 Ultra because we have it. And on top of that, we have some good news. So here are all the important dates for the Galaxy S24 series. The launch date, the pre-orders date, and even the release date. What's the dimension looks like? It will be only 162.3 mm tall rather than 163.4 of the S23 Ultra. That means it is much more smaller in terms of height. But that's only because the bezels this year are gonna be crazy thin. They're gonna be symmetrical all the sides, from the top, bottom sides, and they're gonna be razor thin. They're gonna be so much thinner, and Samsung will flaunt them a lot. This year, the phone is also getting wider, about 79 mm compared to 78.1 mm. In the hands, it will be quite wide. But at the same time, this phone is going to be much more slimmer at 8.6 mm compared to 8.9 mm of the S23 Ultra. But if you're thinking, as I said in the last videos, the weight of the phone is still going to be the same one, 233 grams. Now, if you don't know, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra will come with titanium frame, which is slightly more heavier than aluminum while making it much more stronger than even stainless steel. So they have probably used quite a lot of titanium in it. Another thing that is properly visible is that Corning Gorilla Glass Victus armor. I don't know whether this is a collaboration between Samsung and Corning, but this seems like it. But we know that the 5000 mAh battery is still staying the same. It will have the 45 watt fast charging, 15 watt wireless charging, the same 4.5 watt wireless power share, almost the same spec as the current model, no changes. The same thing also can be said about the USB-C. It's still the USB 3.2 Gen 1 port, USB-C port. There is going to be Bluetooth 5.3, just like last year's model, but this year it will support Wi-Fi 7. Unlike the Plus and the standard model, they will not support the Wi-Fi 7 standard. They will still be Wi-Fi 6E standards, just like last year's model, which is actually a future-proofing thing. Now, another design change coming to at least the S24 Ultra is a new speaker grille. Ice Universe says that instead of using the same design Samsung employed for the speakers on the S23 Ultra or S22 Ultra, S24 Ultra will have a long strip design instead. Kind of the same as the S9 and S9 Plus. Is it a good move or a bad move? I just don't know. I don't feel anything about it. But in the display department, we can clearly see one big difference, and we have already seen it many times. 1 to 120 Hz on all the Galaxy S24 models. Finally, there is no difference between them. And on top of that, all of them will also come with 2600 nits of peak brightness. This is a big deal. But on top of that, we are also seeing that the high brightness, the manual high brightness, is gonna be about 1500 nits. That's the stable manual brightness. That is a big upgrade compared to even 1200 nits of the last year's model, which wasn't bad, but this is a big upgrade. Now, another thing that is coming to the display department is actually the flat display. Now, this has been confirmed by many different live hands-on leaks, but this time we also have a live hands-on video that shows the same thing, that it has a flat display, a totally flat display. There is a slight bit of curve, but almost you can ignore that because it's just not even a curve anymore. But the only thing is that Samsung hasn't made the side frame totally flat. It is much more flatter compared to last year's model, but it still has curve because of the comfortability in the hands, but that's probably it. Qualcomm is actually providing a lot of features to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. And if you don't know, the S24 Ultra will actually be exclusively powered by Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for Galaxy chipset, with the performance core will be running at higher clock speed than usual. Well, what's the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 is? It's a 4nm chipset. The prime core will run at 3.39 GHz, at least the spec sheet is showing. Performance cores, the Cortex A720 cores running at 3.1 GHz, about 3 of them. And another group with 2 Cortex A720 cores will run at 2.9 GHz, and then they're going to be Cortex A520 cores running at 2.2 GHz. This is a much different core cluster compared to Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy inside the S23 Ultra. And this will give it a lot of boost in the performance department, whether you talk about the CPU, GPU, or even the NPU capabilities, because this year the NPU is going to be crazy more powerful because this whole thing, the whole Galaxy S24 series is going to be powered by Galaxy AI. At least that's what Samsung going to claim in the marketing, and we can see it already. Now, if you guys are thinking about the difference between the Exynos 2400 and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for Galaxy, the basic Geekbench performance difference, then here are the examples of the recent listings. And you can clearly see that the Snapdragon is still ahead of the Exynos 2400, but the Exynos 2400 is no slouch either. It is really, really powerful. But the only thing that we can't really see from here is actually the sustained performance. I don't know whether that will be great or not, but Samsung has actually improved the cooling system a lot. Because this year we're hearing that, or also we have already seen the leaks from Samsung's own marketing materials, that the S24 Ultra will have a 1.9 times bigger vapor chamber cooling system compared to the S23 Ultra because of the NPU capabilities and the upgraded processing power. Certain countries will also get Snapdragon variants of the Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus. So it's not going to be Exynos 2400 power outside US and Canada. There are other countries like India might also get a Snapdragon variant of the S24 Plus. But this leak by WinFuture also says that there is a good chance only European models of the S24 and S24 Plus will be powered by Exynos processor rather than the Snapdragon. I think we will have to wait for Samsung to confirm it. But that's not where the magic will end though. The 200 megapixel ISOCELL HP2SX camera is also capable of doing certain things thanks to the Qualcomm's AI engine is unbelievable. Like you can do now 2x and 4x zoom inside the video, that too without losing any quality. So it will continue to be in 4K, but you will still be able to zoom in without any degradation in quality. But this is a technology called in-sensor crop that even Apple introduced with the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus. And that's the same thing Samsung will also do inside the 5x 50 megapixel telephoto camera or 48 megapixel camera. And this is why we will also have a fully fledged lossless 12 megapixel 10x photo without losing any quality. It's still better than the current 10x telephoto cameras can do. So freaking cool. Plus, with the ISOCELL Zoom in Place technology, Samsung will also allow you to automatically zoom in and track subject inside the video while capturing both close-up and wide-angle perspective. So you will have two videos coming from the one sensor and that too at the same time. By the way, some of the things actually revealed by Samsung already, so if you don't know. If you're thinking about the 100x space zoom, that is still staying the same. Maybe it will be better because this time Samsung will also introduce a feature that will upscale the photos to a much higher resolution than it was shot at. So definitely cool stuffs are coming. Plus, we are hearing that at 4K 60 fps videos, you can still be able to zoom up to 20x unlike the current system. On top of that, you will have option for like 4K 120 fps videos, really good. And on top of that, you will be able to shoot up to 8K using the 5x camera as well. It's a win-win for all of us. The standard model will come, both standard models will come with 50 megapixel main camera, 10 megapixel 3x camera, and a 12 megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera. And definitely a 12 megapixel front-facing shooter. And the storage and the RAM, they are not changing at all, and they are already great. So I don't think why Samsung will change it. They're starting at 256, 512, 1 terabyte is there, and there is going to be 12 gigabytes of RAM as standard. All of them are UFS 4.0 technology storage, so that's it. Only the S24 with 128GB base model is going to be coming with 8GB of RAM and it will be UFS 3.1. That's the one thing. The Plus model this year is getting a high resolution display. It's getting a 1440p display. And another change is the battery department. The cheaper model is getting a 4000 mAh battery but 25 watt max charging. The Plus model is getting 4900 mAh battery and 45 watt fast charging like the Ultra model. Now, if you're thinking about the color options, then here are the color options. These are the same color will also be available for the Ultra model, but will be called titanium black, titanium gray, titanium violet, and titanium yellow. For SamsungStore.com exclusives, if you're thinking, there are going to be few colors. One is jade green. It's going to be a lighter green color. There is going to be sapphire blue and a sandstone orange color. Samsung is going to market this as the Galaxy S24 powered by Galaxy AI. You know how much AI is important here. Now, we have heard before that the S24, S24 Plus and the S24 Ultra will support functionalities such as like moving and removing subject in the existing photos, like we've seen it. This BMX rider as a subject, you won't just be able to move the objects around, you will also be able to shrink, rotate them as well. But that is one feature that is coming. Another thing that is coming is actually circle to search. And you will be able to search any item in a photo simply by drawing a circle around it. Another thing to keep in mind is that many of these AI features will also be integrated in the Samsung keyboard and Note application. So this means that if you use the Samsung's own keyboard application, then this feature will work, not with the Gboard or anything like that. The Galaxy S24 series will also be able to summarize web pages for you, just like the Google's Pixel 8 phones. But that's not the only thing. The devices will also be able to detect your tone in the text to change the whole tone of the text, like make it professional or casual if you want. Even if you have a handwritten note using the S Pen, you can actually convert that into a professional email or text invitation thanks to this Galaxy AI. But that's not the only AI feature. We have seen tons of AI features too in the past, like upscaling photos to a much higher resolution than they were shot at. But certain features on the S24 Ultra will actually require you to connect to servers. So like the Magic Editor alternative needs server to work on it. So that's kind of thing you're gonna see. Now another cool feature that Samsung actually revealed a long time back is actually live translation in calls. Now this photo shows that Samsung phone app can translate a call from Spanish to English and vice versa. However, I'm not sure yet whether this will be in text format only or whether my voice will be replaced by an AI translated voice as well. That's not confirmed, but it seems though. But then we have the biggest news. According to Android headlines, Samsung's upcoming flagships will get updates for 7 years. Now this publication doesn't really confirm if the 7 years will apply only to the security updates, but hopefully Android One UI and feature updates will also be included in that. That means it's gonna compete directly with the Pixel 8 in terms of updates. And this is a big claim though. Just think about it. Samsung has been great with One UI updates, so fast, stable, and the best Android skin out in the market, that too for 7 years on a phone. Really good thing. And oh, by the way, the price is expected to be same in the US. Maybe it's gonna be even cheaper than that. Plus the pre-order bonuses are the same as the last year's models we are hearing. It's gonna give you double the storage at the same price if you pre-order them, and then extra discounts if you buy Galaxy Buds or Galaxy Watches. And European market, the S24 and S24 Plus will be cheaper than the last year's models, but the S24 Ultra will be actually $50 more costlier than the last year's Ultra model. So that's the thing. And yes, if you feel like you need some really cool wallpapers for your devices, whether it's a tablet or a smartphone or even a laptop, well, I have some crazy cool 8K wallpapers, stunning designs, and amazing colors. Visit my website, joindavid.com, link down below. And until the next one, bye and take care.